Hey guys, today we're talking about different pairs of angles and their specific names and their properties. Let's start off with adjacent angles. Adjacent means next to. You live adjacent to your neighbor. You live next to them. So adjacent angles are two angles that are next to each other and they share a side. So take a look at angle 1 and 2. Angle 1 and 2 both share this ray in blue, and therefore they are adjacent to each other. A linear pair of angles are both adjacent to each other, and the one ray that's not adjacent, that they don't share, goes off in opposite directions. In other words, it forms a straight line. So check out angle 3 and 4. They are adjacent because they share this ray, and there are two other rays that go off in opposite directions form this straight line. And we're going to come to call that supplementary. This, in other words, it forms a straight angle. All right, the next pair of angles are called supplementary angles, and they add up to equal 180 degrees. So check out A and B here. Let's say the measure of angle A is 50 degrees, and the measure of angle B is 130. Well, 50 degrees plus 130 would add up to equal 180. So that's what makes these two angles supplementary. Likewise, complementary means that they add up to equal 90 degrees. So angle D and angle C here, let's say one is 40 and the other one is 50, those two would add up to equal 90 degrees, and therefore they would be complementary angles. All right, now that we got some of that terminology out of the way, let's see how good we are at recognizing. It says label the following angle pairs with their correct names. In A, I see angle 1 and 2 share a common ray, and therefore they must be adjacent angles. How about in letter B here? Angle 1 and 4, let's take angle 1 and 4 first. They look like they're adjacent, they share a side, but they're opposite rays here. The other two rays form opposite rays, form a straight line, and therefore angle 1 and angle 4 are also known as a linear pair. Now, there's a couple other linear pairs in this diagram here. Angle 2 and angle 3 would be a linear pair. Angle 1 and angle 2 would also be a linear pair. And same thing with angle 3 and angle 4. Now, angle 1 and 4 is also adjacent. Angle 1 and angle 4 are also supplementary. So there's a lot going on whenever we have these crisscrossing lines here. So supplementary and linear pair and adjacent. All right, let's take a look at the next one here. Letter C, we have angle 3 and 4. It looks like they are adjacent to each other, and they're going to form a straight angle with their non-adjacent ray, and therefore this is a linear pair. And I know when it forms a straight angle, they add up to equal 180, so these guys are also supplementary. Okay, in example 2, we're asked to tell whether the following pairs are adjacent and form a linear pair, or not adjacent. Our first pair is angle AEB and BEC. We see that these guys do share this ray EB, and therefore they are adjacent. However, they are not a linear pair because their two opposite rays, EA and EC, do not form a straight angle. All right, the next pair is AEB and CED. So AEB and CED are now these two angles here. We see that they do not share a ray, so therefore they are simply not adjacent. All right, our next one we are going to take a look at is AEC and CED. So AEC is now this red one here, and CED is the second red one. So we see that these guys do share ray EC, so they are adjacent. However, we know that their non-adjacent side here, EA and ED, form a opposite rays, and therefore they form a straight angle of 180 degrees, and therefore they are also a linear pair. In example 3, we're asked to list two pairs of vertical angles in our drawing. Now, vertical angles are those angles that look like they're crisscrossing lines. So, for example, angle 1 and angle 3 form vertical angles because if you take a look at their rays that form angle 1 and angle 3, it looks like you could take one ray from angle 1 and one from angle 3 and form two straight lines from those two rays. Now, another pair of vertical angles from this drawing here can be seen, can be seen between angle 2 and this angle 5 and 4 combination here. So again, if you were to draw this 5 and 4 combination and this angle 2 here, you would see that those guys also form vertical angles. All right, in our next example, we're going to look at finding supplementary and complementary angles. Remember, supplementary angles add up to equal 180. Therefore, if you want to find the supplement of an angle, simply subtract it from 180 degrees, and you'll end up with that supplement. Likewise, you can find the complement of an angle by subtracting that measure from 90 degrees. So let's say, example 4, we're given the measure of angle S. It's 37 degrees. Here's angle S. That's the vertex of that angle. We want to find the complement of angle S. So in other words, we're going to say 90 minus 37, and therefore the complement of that angle would be 53 degrees. Likewise, the supplement of that angle S would be found by taking 180 and subtracting 37, resulting in 143 degrees. So 143 is the supplement of angle S. All right, in example 5, we're given that angle A and B are complementary. That means they add to 90. If the measure of angle A is 5 times that of angle B, find the measure of both angles. So let's start off by writing angle A plus angle B add up to equal 90 degrees. Now, I don't know the measure of angle A or the measure of angle B, but I do know that A is 5 times whatever B is. So let's let B be equal to X. And therefore, an expression for the measure of angle A would be 5x. All right, so we have expressions for our two angles. So we can say 5x plus x is equal to 90. And now that gives us 6x is equal to 90. If I divide both sides by 6, x will have a value of 15. So that means the measure of angle B is 15 degrees, and the measure of angle A is 5 times 15, which is 75 degrees. Okay, in our final example for today, we have two angles, angle XYZ, and it's given the expression by 2x, and the measure of angle PQR, and the expression that represents that measure is 8x minus 20. In part A of this, we are told that these guys are complementary, and we should figure out what the value of x is and find the measure of each angle. So if they're complementary, I know they add to equal 90, so I can take their expressions, 2x plus 8x minus 20, and set that equal to 90 degrees. In part B, I'm told that these two angles are supplementary. So let's write the sum of those two angles, 2x plus 8x minus 20, is equal to 180. From here, we're going to combine like terms, solve for our value of x, and find the measure of our two angles. Pause the video and try it yourself.